So much going on, I don't know where to start. Cathie Wood loading up on Palantir like it's 1994. Mark Cuban is pushing Dogecoin again. Bitcoin is going through the roof. Another company joins Amazon in adopting Bitcoin potentially as for next year. A lot to talk about, a lot of news. Let's get started right away. As you know, on this channel, I don't push nothing. I don't sell nothing. No courses, no sponsorships. Don't click nothing. Don't buy nothing. Just give me your attention and let's get this started. My name is Tom Nash and I quit my corporate job as a senior financial analyst to break down companies for you. But there's one thing you need to know about me. I don't take bullshit from anybody. Okay, so first of all, we have to talk about Cathie Wood and Palantir in the same story, which is something that brought me a lot of views in the past. I'm not gonna lie, it's happening again. Now, we know Palantir. Pathy? If Palantir and Cathie Wood have made a child, it would have been called Pathy Coods. Okay, so let's get started. And as you know on this channel, we got a lot of views for putting Cathie Wood and Palantir in the title. And this video is not going to be any different. On this serious side, we all knew that Cathie is extremely bullish on Palantir, and she's been doubling down through this whole earnings season. Now, she went through 5.2 million stocks across her all funds during Q2 earnings and beyond, giving it 120 millions that she just put into her funds of more Palantir stock. Now, we know she's a huge bull. We know that some of you think that she's a has-been. She has no idea what she's talking about. But I mean, that would be ignoring the 20 years of record that she has of calling it right in the long term. And let me tell you what's going to happen now. All these fair weather fans will come out basically bashing Cathie, saying she has no idea what she's talking about, which is ironic because these are the same people who were hyping her up when she was doing well in the short and medium term. The one thing they forget is that Cathie doesn't give a shit about short-term performance, and she had a good career before Tesla. You know that, right? So she has like 20 odd years of calling it right. So for those naysayers and negative people, basically don't buy the stock. It's fine. Don't invest in ARK and don't invest in Palantir. Now, the reason I'm happy about it because more and more institutional money, more and more smart money is pouring into Palantir, and they're stealthy about it. They're doing it slowly because they don't want to push the price way higher than they want it to be. And I see this trend developing over the next 2-3 months stronger and stronger. I think the price is starting to climb up slowly. That doesn't mean it's not going to be volatile. And Palantir is kind of a stock that can go crazy. It can go sideways for months, go down 15%, 20%, 30%, go back up. It's kind of like Bitcoin. It has a very erratic behavior, but in the long run, it's another positive sign that things are moving. Now, speaking of positive signs of things that are moving in Palantir, some dude on Reddit found something incredible. This dude has literally went and tested domain names that start with company names and the Palantir Foundry login, and he found crazy stuff. For example, GM, for example, PepsiCo, Pfizer, New York Stock Exchange, a whole bunch of a list of crazy companies that allegedly use Palantir Foundry. And in fact, Jackson from the channel called Palantir Vision, which actually had me in for an interview, and he's kind of the Rob Mauer of the Palantir community. Basically, we spoke about this, but the next best guess after me was Sham, and he got him. So he talked to Sham, the COO, and I think the next CEO of Palantir, and he basically asked him about it, why some companies are not basically being public about it, why we have to find out like this through Reddit, that a whole bunch of huge blue chip companies are using Palantir Foundry and they're not really putting it out there. And the answer he got actually makes a lot of sense. It's because a lot of these companies has basically different vendors, different relationships. They don't want to insult anybody. I mean, they don't want to push anybody's toes. I get it. Not everybody wants to be public about using this software. I mean, Airbus wants to do it. It doesn't mean every single company wants to put out there which vendors they're using. Kind of makes sense to me. But again, another great sign for Palantir. And now let's talk about Mark Cuban's latest brain fart. Now, this dude has been insanely inconsistent as far as it goes with cryptocurrencies. I love him on Shark Tank. I think he's insanely entertaining. He's a smart dude. He's obviously a gazillionaire, so he knows what the hell he's doing. I love what he's doing with the Dallas Mavericks. But whenever it comes to cryptocurrencies, this dude is insanely inconsistent and he's talking a lot of crap. Now, he just came out and said, hey, Dogecoin is the strongest cryptocurrency as a medium of exchange. Now, you can't see it on my screen, but I can. I was saying this about Dogecoin shows a very little understanding of what Dogecoin is. Let me just explain. Dogecoin is a freaking meme. It ran up like crazy. People made a lot of money. That's fine. But it's extremely speculative. That was kind of the greater fool theory in all its might and glory. is this really a valid medium of exchange? Is this the best medium for exchange as far as cryptocurrencies go? Not exactly, because let me tell you something, Mark. The thing that's most important to be a medium of exchange is stability. And that is precisely why we use the dollar, the euro, and all of these other state-sponsored currencies right now, and not cryptocurrencies when we go to the grocery store or to the camera shop. Imagine cryptocurrency that I own, let's say a Bitcoin or Ether, whatever, goes down by 40% overnight, which it can. I go to my camera shop, or let's say to my grocery store, and I try to pay with Bitcoin or whatever it is. And they say, well, you're missing like half of the money. Half, Eddie, I want half. Imagine that happening in the supermarket, all your neighbors, the people from your neighborhood, everybody's looking at you like you're poor, and you're trying to explain, no, it's just cryptocurrency. Like they think you're just bullshitting it, right? So you know the situation. You're going to be extremely embarrassed. Now, that's not a good reason not to use cryptocurrencies, but all I'm saying, it cannot be a medium of exchange before it's stable. Now, a lot of people who counter-argument that basically say, well, Tom, state-sponsored currencies, especially US dollar, are no longer tied to anything physical. It's just a fiat currency. It's not tied to gold or nothing. So it's the same as Bitcoin. Well, technically it is. You can print as much of it as you can, but there's the huge but here, like MC Hammer said. The huge but here is that the state-sponsored currency is actually tied to the performance of the economy, to inflation, and a lot of stuff that rational, logical people can actually estimate and decide how much this currency is worth. Bitcoin, Dogecoin, all of these coins have no relation to anything but the willingness of other people to buy it. That is until one coin or two coins or three coins will come up with a valid, sustainable, everyday use case for it, then we can talk about using it as a medium of exchange. Right now, the only medium of exchange I want is to read something else because Mark Cuban is full of it. However, not everything is doom and gloom in the cryptocurrency world. It seems that we have another blue chip company joining Amazon in the ranks of companies that are building infrastructure to actually start adopting Bitcoin when nobody really knows. Now, Walmart just came out and said, wait, we're looking for a new senior director that's going to help us basically find investment opportunities within the Bitcoin cryptocurrency sector. That's another kind of worse language to basically say, we're setting up an infrastructure to actually work with Bitcoin, which is pretty much the same thing Amazon said, which is pretty much the same thing Elon said with Tesla before it backed out of environmental concerns. But it seems that it's happening. Now, it's also kind of clear that things are getting better for Bitcoin. If you look at the difficulty, they just raised the difficulty by 7%. It means more people are mining because the algorithm every 2,000 blocks, whatever, actually adjusts the difficulty. It means that once you saw that 7% increase in the difficulty of mining Bitcoin, there's more people competing for it. And it makes sense. Bitcoin is pushing 50,000 again, which it was bound to do. Again, all these paper handlers, they got their ass whooped because they were impatient. I mean, Bitcoin, you either believe it or you don't. If you're trying to speculate over Bitcoin, you're in for a very problematic ride. 7% up, it means Bitcoin is reviving again within this little mini crash they had. I mean, to call it a Bitcoin crash is a little bit exaggerated. I mean, it was a little turbulence. Of course, that is if you saw what happened in 2017. If you're a millennial and you got spooked, well, shame. Next time you learn your lesson. And in case you haven't heard, there's another story developing. Japan is actually extending the lockdown all the way through September. That's another sign of the world basically starting to deal with this third, fourth, fifth, whatever wave it is of this new variant. And again, I've spoke about this before. I told you it's creeping back up. It's not going to just reopen like it's 1994 and we'll just go and party. It is going to be a very painful struggle. I think we're rolling back a little bit the reopening. And again, I told you there's a lot of stocks and plays that actually make sense in this kind of hampered reopening situation. You can look at my previous videos, or you can join our Patreon and channel members and see my post about it. $5 per month, and you'll be supporting the channel. Why not? I will be happy to see you there. In fact, we have a Zoom call today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you join today, you can jump on the Zoom call and I'll see you there. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.